Well, my next guest began his love of business early, attending his first shareholder and board meeting when he was 16 years old. He began his career as a journalist, interviewing such business titans like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Andy Grove. He is a four-time CEO and author, having written a book called An Enlightened Entrepreneur, and he's now the CEO of OnGig, a successful HR tech company based in the US. Rob Kelly, welcome to Talent Blazers.
Thanks. I'm psyched to be here, David. Let's get going.
Yeah, OnGig. For those who don't know who OnGig are, who are OnGig?
Yep, we eliminate boring and biased job ads through SaaS software. So we're a software company, and like you said, in HR tech, and our job's to make sure your job content is not boring and is not biased, so it appeals to the right people.
And I feel like we're just going to be best friends, you and I, Rob, because we both believe the same thing. And yeah, I'm a big fan of OnGig and what you guys are doing. Love to know what you're seeing in a market like this, entering the great resignation. Why is it essential for career websites to really stand out in a market like this?
Geez, I mean, it's if you're lucky enough to get someone even to pay attention to you as an employer, to visit your career site, look at one of your job pages. Um, First off, you better do everything you can to get the candidate to do that, and then you better be ready to engage them, and you better be ready to convert them. With usually an application. So more than ever, just got to be on it.
So the career side is I believe the new home for, well, it's always been someone's home, but companies are pouring attention into their career site, and I understand why. Social sites are so competitive, like LinkedIn or Facebook, and you do want to pull them over to your career site. Why is it important for people to hone in on a really good career site?
Yeah, if you're an employer, you are your career site. I mean, it's any good candidate's going to be taking a look, even if they found you through a back door. Say you're lucky enough to have an employee referral or some third party recruiter. Any good candidate's going to go right over to your corporate homepage and then check out your career site. And you might lose them if you haven't done your homework up to that point. And it's not so hard to do, and it's not so expensive to do. It could be done on the cheap. I got some great tips on how to do that. Some of the big employers out there you can steal ideas from. They've spent millions on these approaches. They measure it analytically. I know you're big into analytics. So it just takes focus on doing it. But it's amazing how many employers sort of, I would say, get caught thumb sucking, as Warren Buffett would say. They're just kind of sitting around, not nailing it, and you're in trouble if that's you.
So, okay, let's peel back the onion here. What constitutes a really good website? A career site, sorry.
Yeah, let's start with, well, it's got to do the big three. One is it's got to get the candidate's attention. Number one, it's got to engage them. Number two, and then it's got to convert. Typically, applying for a job, although there are other calls to action, including watching important videos on mission statements and culture and some other things. And interestingly, companies do both of those often and can do it really well. But if you have those three, get their attention, engage, and convert, start thinking in terms of those stages, that's a good start.
Yeah. And we see these companies that have these big mother statements about, whether it be their mission or their vision. How do you feel like that resonates with a candidate in a market like this? And I say that because I do jump from career site to career site of these really big companies, and they all look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're all saying the right thing. So how do you stand out?
Yeah, and I agree 100%. Maybe it's easier also to start with what not to do. So beware brochureware, I would say. Beware the brochureware. If you come across as an old brochure back in the pre-internet days, people would share an actual brochure about one's company or about anything, a product. and those can often all look the same. And so, your career site just can't look like a generic brochure. And for instance, just the actual name of the career site and what people put on there, a lot of people just have, as you've seen, just say jobs on it or careers on it. Well, imagine if you took that approach to your homepage on your regular corporate website. Would you just say homepage? Like, is that all you would do? Is that the first impression you want someone to have visiting your site? So, I'm a big fan of it starts with the headline, and this has not changed in many, many years. I was just rereading this 50-year-old book on advertising. This guy, Claude Hopkins, a total hiring nerd back in the day, he would have loved to hang out and see where things have gone to. But basically, the point of the headline is to get the right person to read on. So that's where it starts, with the headline. And I could give you a couple examples of do's and don'ts there, if you want.
Love that. What are the do's and don'ts?
So, it's mapping to that stage one of getting the candidate's attention. And so you don't want to bore them. That's not going to get their attention. So, and this is where going to some companies that know what they're doing, it's easy to give Apple as an example for anything because they're so darn good. But they're an exceptional marketing advertising company. If anything they do, typically they've spent a lot of time and money on. So if you go look at their career homepage, I mean, boy, start there. They've probably I bet they spent $5 million just on the headline, and they do a video for their opener, which is not so common, but totally works in Apple's case. But their headline is, "Join us, period, be you." 4 words. Pretty simple, join us, right? Anyone could say that. That's actually a generic headline, right? Just join us. Yeah. But then be you. And what they're saying is, be yourself. We'll take anyone as long as you know yourself and you'll be yourself. That's brilliant. That headline was written by a copywriter at a top ad agency, and that copywriter makes $1 million a year, and that agency got paid probably at least $1 million to come up with that.
Yeah, well, that touches on to diversity and inclusion, and what a hot topic it is in a market like this. It's candidate short, and attracting minority groups can have a really big benefit to an organisation. So BU really, really hits home when I think of BU. I think of them nailing their D&I KPIs that they've probably got, and trying to attract minority groups. Do you see the importance of D&I being positioned on your career site as well?
Yeah, for sure. But like anything else, it could be done the right way or it could be done the wrong way. So I'll give you one example. If you were to show your videos or employee testimonials, team pictures, anything on your career home site, you better make sure that you're showing the mix of types of folks that you want to attract. Because if you only got guys like me, a white straight guy, that's who you're going to attract. It's a principle of psychology. One of my other favorite books is called Influence. You probably know it, Dr. Robert Cialdini. And likability, people, they want to be joining something that's like them. So a person of color is very unlikely to join a site that's not showing off diversity and inclusion.
Mm. And you just touched on employees being the face of the organisation. Do you really see that as a trend moving into the year coming, where and I say this on the back of, you think about Glassdoor and you think about employees writing things out and going to Glassdoor and looking at Glassdoor and what people are actually saying about that organisation. Do you see a role where employees can talk about, or even answering a question, to talk about what it's really like or how they feel like it's like within the organisation? Do you think a career site has a place for something like that as well? That's another one of Dr. Cialdini's 6 main principles, which is social proof. So, that's why testimonials work. That's why they sell. And as long as they're done well, they're going to sell. And you'd much rather have
the candidate get their message and their impression from you, the employer, directly than going to a Glassdoor, where Glassdoor is a great business. I have a lot of respect for them. You might find some disgruntled employees saying something, that's not, in your opinion, accurate. So control the messaging, and you should give the candidate a better experience on your career homepage than them checking you out on Glassdoor.
Yeah. All right. So we've got our career site sorted, and but we want to attract candidates. And we were just talking a little bit offline. You've had a really successful campaign where you attracted 2 million people over to your read one of your blogs. But there's other tricks and tips you have to lure people into your career site. Can you share a few of those?
Sure. I would say, and you're speaking of our blog, and we're lucky to have a couple million HR enthusiasts, probably the types of folks listening today, hopefully, if anyone's in here other than you and me. And if not, that's okay. It's still worth it for me to have a chat with you. But there's some basic principles, similar ones that we're using. Any page of content, we're very clear on our headline and what the topic is to make sure we're not wasting anyone's time. A good rule of thumb is be clear first, clever second, if at all. A lot of folks try to be clever with names and this with job titles too, right? And there are times to be clever, and you better know what you're doing if you're going to be clever. It's a lot better to be clear first and clever later, and then just have the best content in the universe on what you're talking about. I know that sounds cliche or contrite, but it's easy to do if you're focused. So back to your career site, you surely can have the best content on what it's like to work for your company anywhere on the planet, can't you? Are you really going to let Glassdoor beat you at that?
Yeah,
really?
Totally.
Really? Is that, or Comparably, which is my favorite alternative to Glassdoor, and they both do great jobs, but come on, you're the employer, control this. You can do a better job. Get a handful of videos up there. Show what it's like to work at your company. Show the benefits, the specifics. Show what's unique too. The whole thing. There's certain folks you're not gonna want. Amazon's great at this. I mean, they make it clear they want a numbers oriented, driven, real sort of. Just an A player, and if you're at all hesitant about that, they don't even want you to engage. Just take off, go to the next company, and that takes courage to do that. And of course, that's Amazon. Folks are going to say, well, they can do anything. They've been like that the entire history since I bought a book from them when they had 1,000 books in their library. They were still doing that back then. I remember they tried to recruit me. I was an idiot and I didn't accept. I could have been a billionaire by now, I'm sure.
You've had a terrific career,
but they were good. I'll tell you that. Back then they're recruiting. Bezos got it. Just him back then. Go look at his first job ad. It's on OnGig, and you can see how he wrote his job ad.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Maybe we can attach it as part of this
show notes.
Yeah, for sure. Look, you're touching on the importance of employer brand. I think, and in a market like this, I can really see employer brand really rising up. What are your thoughts on employer branding and companies doing a new EVP in light of what we've recently gone through?
Yeah, I mean, as important as ever. I mean, you know as well as me, the culture of a company ranks really highly when you ask candidates what they care about. In terms of content, they want to belong, they want to be part of something. No one wants to be alone and die alone in this world. And so whether it's having family or friends, or of course, you've got your job. It's changed a little bit. We're now doing all this stuff on Zoom or on Riverside, this cool app we're using right now. But the basic needs of a human haven't changed, and they want to belong and connect. And the best way to do that is to show what it's like to work at your company, for better, for worse too. So the more you're in tune with your values and what's unique about your company, and not just given the brochureware again, you really got to be honest with yourself and be willing to let some candidates keep walking. you're not going to be the right place for them. That's marketing 101.
Yeah. And we love video, and the viewers here love video as well, and you're a video fan. You mentioned one of the key words you used in that sentence is show your brand, and that talks to video. I think video provokes, enables companies to build trust and provoke action. I'd love to know your perspective on what you're seeing with video in the environment that you've created over at OnGeek.
Yeah, and again, you and I, we're marketing guys, right? Who happen to be in and marketing and sales guys who happen to be in HR and HR tech. But some of these principles don't change. The more you tell, the more you sell. That has not changed. It's proven over and over. Give me 3 lines of text versus, give me a page of text. A good copywriter is going to sell someone better with a page. The beauty of video is that that's built in. So, picture 2 employers. One's got 5 videos on what it's like to work at the company with the employees and the mix of different types of people and what they do. And the other one's got 0 video on the employees. All other things equal. Who's the candidate going to be interested in working with? And guess what? Even if they don't click a single video, they're going to trust the employer with more content, video content in this case, on the page. That's a trick. Nielsen had some great data on that, by the way. Even a candidate or a person who does not click on a video later on has something like 40% higher brand recognition of the company that had the video.
Yeah, right.
So the user didn't even click on the video, and still it was superior. They remembered it because they said, "Oh, I trust them." There was like a, little picture on there, but they didn't even engage with it. They just kind of briefly looked at it. So it can be powerful, and the more you tell, the more you sell.
Yeah, no, we're seeing that with candidates who are applying. One of the first questions that they do ask in any role within an organization when they have an opportunity to is, what is it like to work within your company, and who will I be working with? So video really enables people to be pushed much further down the funnel if you're able to share that content with them early and even up front. And sharing culture, and this is where the career site does come in, you can really push them really further and separate yourself and have a competitive edge. Do you advocate for that as well?
Yeah, 100%.
What are your thoughts on what's the optimal amount of video that a company should be thinking about on their career site? Do you have an opinion on that?
I think it depends what you're trying to accomplish. So, back to a career site, if you're trying to attract them, engage them, get them to take a call to action. For instance, interestingly, Stripe, the big, credit card processing company, worth, whatever, $50 billion. It's 2 Irish brothers, just nailed it. They, interestingly, they're on their career homepage, they start off with a video. It's the 2 brothers just talking about their story, very humble. They talk about how they at first were just trying to do some credit card processing for developers. They called it a niche, and they talked about how they kind of lucked into something bigger. And that's very compelling, right? I mean, it's hard to replace that. You could write it out too, that story, and that could be equally effective. But in this case, seeing them visually, it just says a lot about who the company is, where they came from. So that's, a more modern day company. But then go to Apple, same thing on their career homepage. They're leading off with a video, and of course they're Apple, but they're just hitting home. Be yourself, be you, and they're a much more established company. So whether you're a new company or an older company, you can use video to engage.
Yeah. All right, well, on that note, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you, and thanks for sharing your story and your thoughts on the career site and how companies can think about luring the right candidates to their organisation. Rob, thanks for joining me on Talent Blazers.
Of course, I want to offer up your audience just as a thank you to anyone listening here and to you for inviting me on. Is anyone who wants all of their career site job content analyzed, we're happy to give you a free diagnostic. Just go to ongig.com, hit request a demo, mention this show. That's where you heard us. And we'll give you a nice free assessment. We normally just do this for giant companies, Fortune 100 types, but just as a thank you to anyone listening and to you, we're happy to do it to any of your community.
What a wonderful offer. That's awesome. Well, we'll make sure we'll tag it in the link as well for any of the viewers. They should jump on. They should be all over that. Well, Rob, again, thanks for joining on Talent Blazers.
Thanks a lot, David. It's been a pleasure.
See you.